Top stories: the link between vaccination and the reopening of the tourism economy further emphasized in ECCB session. We make a comparison between St. Kitts and Nevis and Anguilla as the British Dependent Territory goes into lockdown due to sudden increases in COVID cases. And in sports, we have results and highlights in the latest match of the LV Star Brown Women's League. Welcome to this edition of the SKN Newsline newscast. I'm Andre Huey. The link between vaccination and the reopening of the tourism economy was further emphasized at Thursday's Digital Dialogues series organized by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, the ECCB. More in this report. Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, Timothy Antoine, suggests that the success of the COVID-19 vaccination programs in the member states is critical to economic recovery. Speaking during ECCB's Digital Dialogues program Thursday, Mr. Antoine says countries like the United States could prevent its citizens from visiting countries that are not adequately vaccinated.
I continue to make the point that while vaccines are ultimately it's of personal choice, in terms of economic recovery in this region, we have to be very clear. It is critical to our economic recovery. We're now seeing a situation where the US, for example, is putting out no travel advisories because of what they perceive as high-risk countries. And in part, that is based on vaccination rates and whether or not countries have attained herd immunity. It's so ironic because having managed this COVID-19 pandemic so well, better than most, certainly than the larger economies until some of them finally got their act together in recent times, we now face a real prospect that we could find ourselves on the sharp end where we are not getting visitors or the flow that we should expect because we are now perceived, some of our countries, to be high risk. Because as we know, both the United States and the UK have really ramped up their vaccination programs, and they know, well advanced. And they are now in the UK over 33 million, in the United States over 200 million people have at least received one dose. And so we have to be very careful about that.
The ECCB governor said there is an irony he's noticed with vaccine hesitancy.
So we have a situation in our region where some people are hesitant. They are watching the science, as they say. But some of these same people, I observe, are buying ultra-processed foods. I'll give a simple example, a bag of chips. They are not reading the label. They're not seeing whether it's trans fat, whether it's fructose, what is in the contents. They're eating it to their heart's content. And in those moments, I don't hear any discussion about science or about health. Perhaps they're doing that because it is cheap, relatively speaking, which creates the nexus between our food and nutrition and, of course, our health. And that's a huge issue right there with macroeconomic implications. But there's an irony that I observe. People are cautious about vaccine, as is their right to be. I want to be clear. But at the same time, will, without thinking almost, consume these ultra-processed foods to their detriment. And if you don't believe me, just look at the Carrefour report, which shows that 4 in 5 deaths in our region, almost 4 in 5, 77%, are NCDs. Obesity, diabetes, hypertension, cancer, and the like.
Thursday's edition of Digital Dialogues focused on pre-existing and emerging health priorities in the Caribbean and the extent to which the region's healthcare systems are equipped to deal with the current and looming health challenges in light of the environmental impact of climate change. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. Anguilla, like St. Kitts and Nevis, has kept its cases of the coronavirus extremely low, with 0 deaths and hospitalization since the start of the pandemic last year. However, with the news that Anguilla has entered into another lockdown due to concerns of community spread of the virus, what went wrong? And what can St. Kitts and Nevis learn from this experience as it looks to reopen the economy later this year? More from this Glenn Bart report.
Reopening St. Kitts and Nevis to full economic activity in October is welcomed by most people, the business community included. After months of necessary restrictive COVID-19 protocols, many persons are feeling the strain of reduced incomes, the complete loss of jobs, and many businesses are at their limit in trying to remain viable enterprises. The Caribbean is a heavily tourism-dependent region, and this is the case for St. Kitts and Nevis or British Overseas Territory like Anguilla. So in a period of transition, what should St. Kitts and Nevis consider in light of the recent lockdown in Anguilla? SKN Newsline spoke with Dr. Patrick Martin, a former Chief Medical Officer of St. Kitts and Nevis, as he reflected on the situation in Anguilla and the kind of challenges we face.
I don't want to prejudge official information, but I would not be surprised if it had to do with people smuggling people. And one of the threats faced by all of our islands is the fact that we have relatively long shorelines. For example, St. Kitts and Nevis has 70 miles of shoreline, and it is not possible for the official security agencies to patrol all of them 24/7. People smuggling people is big business.
According to Dr. Martin, the shutdown in Anguilla shows the kind of difficulty involved in achieving a successful reopening. He supports the idea of a phased approach leading up to and after the 1st of October.
Welcome visitors back. Full vaccination record uploaded and a negative RT-PCR test 72 hours before travel. When they come, test them again at the airport, at the port of entry, and then 5 to 7 days later. If negative, welcome to St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, as time unfolds and you get more information as to how the virus is behaving and how the vaccine is protecting people, I suppose it emerges that the vaccines are 90% effective against people transmitting virus, and you can make some adjustments.
In getting ready to reopen our borders for full economic activity, Dr. Martin believes it is critical that citizens and residents vaccinate against the COVID-19 virus. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
Elliots Funeral Parlor is the first licensed embalmer in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a friendly and professional staff. At Elliots Funeral Parlor, we offer a wide range of packages from $6,500, homegoing service at chapel, locally made caskets, tailoring of outfit for deceased of your choice, wake, overnight with slideshow, funeral, death announcement, obituary, booklets, family pin-ons, memorial books, preparation of funeral arrangements, wreath, fresh and artificial. For further information, call 469-3298, 664-2007, or 660-0186. Elliots Funeral Parlor in Gingerland, Nevis. Dedicated to those we serve.
I need some veggies for dinner. Let me just check the amount of sodium in this can. Oh no, this is too much. Let me try our next option. They did say it's healthy to consume less salt. This is much better. I am salt smart.
Football is back, and the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association will be bringing you live football on its website, www.sknfa.com, with Premier League Live. Without fans in the stadium due to COVID-19 protocols, you can now watch every single Premier League match this season on www.sknfa.com and click on Live TV. Games are shown live on every match day with halftime and post-game shows. It's Premier League Live. Commentary, analysis, action. Never miss a game.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and, most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same, because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Auto Plus Car Wash, located on the College Street Gut, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Bring your car to Auto Plus Car Wash to remove water stains, wiper marks,
Get your doors, roof panel cleaned, seat floor mats, buffing, headlights, and engine wash. You get quality service at the best price at Auto Plus Car Wash. They really care for your car. Call 765-5140 or visit them on College Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts. Auto Plus Car Wash, where the service is number one.
A call is being made for more investments in healthcare across the Eastern Caribbean. That call came during the Digital Dialogues series organized by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. Glenn Bart reports.
There is scope for increased private sector collaboration for investment in health, according to Dr. James Hospitales, the founder of Earth Medic and the Earth Nurse Foundation. Dr. Hospitales was a panelist of the ECCB Digital Dialogues virtual panel discussion hosted by ECCB Governor Timothy Antoine. The focus of the discussion related to the COVID-19 pandemic and healthcare issues. Even in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, there is a need to attract private-public sector collaboration and partnerships on matters such as non-communicable diseases that are such critical health issues for the region. Dr. Hospitales believes that private sector entities need to get on board in regards to investing in the health sector.
The 10 biggest telecom operators in the world are investing billions in health. Call them to the table. Call Digicel, call Cable and Wireless and say, what can we do together? How can you have, these are some of the things we're wrestling with. And I think they're ready. We'll be putting on a workshop with mobile operators in the near future. It'll be global, but I keep advocating to use the Caribbean to work with the Caribbean as a demonstration site because of the institutions and partners here. So that's food and nutrition, that's people's movement, transport, that's insurance and the financial sector. Sagicor and Guardian Life are hemorrhaging because of NCDs. They could easily finance from the savings of a program, a sustained region-wide education program on NCDs and wellness, which has been called for more than once by the Council of Health Ministers, but nobody has stepped up to put the money in it. That's a regional public good. The spend is not a lot compared to a few CAT scans and a few high-end bypass surgeries, but the impact would be tremendous.
He said enhanced policies in both the public and private sectors can create healthier work environments for employees. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
Organizers of Agri Night Market praised for its success. More in this report. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine Resources has been lauded for the success of its most recently held Agri Night. While appearing on Tuesday's edition of Leadership Matters, educator and well-known farmer Winston Morris congratulated the ministry for successfully organizing the event and explained why he's pleased about the night market.
I would like to congratulate the department for hosting that, because I had been a beneficiary of that process, because a lot of my products were asked for and sold for that occasion. So I feel glad. So continue to do it and do it more regularly, I believe. Better for all farmers, because stuff does go off like that. So it's really has been good. Really has been good.
In sharing the same sentiments, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Timothy Harris, expressed his delight in hearing how Agri-Night Market has been widely advantageous to agriculture stakeholders.
I too would want to commend the Department of Agriculture for this effort. I'm very happy by what Vincent has said, that it has provided an additional avenue for farmers to earn a livelihood and therefore add to their take-home pay, if you will, as a result of participation in agriculture. And in not just those involved in the production of produce, but those who go on to do some form of agro-processing, use the input, whether food, soy, etc., to bottle drink, create the hot sauce, etc., etc. It's a good cross-section of persons who in fact benefit. So I also am encouraged by the reports and happy to hear one of our leading farmers speak well about it.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Ron Dublin-Collins, said the feedback from Agri-Night Market has been extremely positive and has influenced the decision to host the event on a regular basis.
The attendance has been great. The vendors have participated, all different sectors. We have different stakeholders. We've had livestock and we've had crops, we've had poultry. It has been a work in progress. The last one held last month, the numbers were tremendous. What we are proposing to do is to do it the last Wednesday in every month.
The third edition of Agri Night in the Market is scheduled for Wednesday, May 26th. Local produce, fresh fish, and meat products will be available for purchase from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
You know, it's me, Mr. HE, and I'm here with one message: roll up to roll out. We all know how difficult things have been during this COVID-19 pandemic. While we continue to wash our hands, wear a face mask, and practice social distancing, how about we take it one step further and get vaccinated? Call the nearest health center to find out if you are eligible to be vaccinated. Or you can contact the Ministry of Health at any one of these numbers down below. Don't be discouraged by the negativity. We all have a role to play in protecting this federation. So, St. Kitts and Nevis, let's roll up to roll out.
Stay abreast with news on St. Martin with SMN News. Visit www.smn-news.com for up-to-date news, scoops, opinions, and hard-hitting facts. SMN News, we tell it like it is. Visit our website www.smn-news.com.
It's the new and improved SKN Newsline Android mobile app. With the SKN Newsline app, you can watch your news reports, the SKN Newsline newscast, sports, special features, and so much more. You can also send us a WhatsApp or call us directly. Go in the Google Play Store, search SKN Newsline, and download the app today. The SKN Newsline mobile app. News on the go.
Junior, can I get popcorn, please? Santel, Def. Want to plead? I can get some salt. More, please. Boy, take a pack up from Junie.
Welcome back. And after taking a look at some of the top stories in local news, let's turn our attentions now to regional news. Antigua and Barbuda will be maintaining their strict COVID protocols even as the vaccination rollout continues. More from ABS News.
Despite public outcry, Cabinet at its latest meeting has decided to maintain some public health measures in the ongoing battle against COVID-19. Chief among these is a continued closure of bars and clubs.
The government has taken a view that we are not yet ready to look at reopening the bars and the clubs. specifically because we are still concerned that these vehicles act as super spreader events. And given our experience within the last 6 weeks, we know that there are a number of persons who have remained asymptomatic and have been able to propagate the spread of the virus. We are satisfied that once we have brought the issue back to a level of manageable risk, we would have no difficulty in reopening up that type of social activity.
Also staying firmly in place is the maximum number allowed at weddings and funerals and the maximum allowed for social gatherings.
There, however, is the continued restriction on the number of persons attending funerals and weddings, simply because of the associated patterns of behavior where people are gathered for these two events. The numbers have been restricted, continued to be restricted to 25. The social gatherings still limited to 5. Again, we want to indicate to the public it is not that we're trying to curtail people's personal freedom, but we want them as well to understand the risk.
Cabinet has also indicated beaches will be closed on the 2 upcoming public holidays, Labor Day on May 3 and Whit Monday on May 24. The minister says caution should be the order of the day.
We're not out of the woods yet, and the numbers are ticking down nicely in the right direction, but we also want to maintain a level of caution in relation to our social behavior.
For ABS News, I'm Ursula Charles Jr.
In St. Lucia, Prime Minister Alan Chastney says his hesitation to call the elections is due to his concern for the safety of the population due to the COVID-19 pandemic. HTS TV News reports.
Does Prime Minister Alan Chastney plan to go the distance with his first term at the helm of his United Workers' Party administration? During a recent appearance on UWP Media, Chastney hinted that his reluctance to declare an election date is not born out of fear, but predicated on the COVID-19 pandemic response. He denies that he is apprehensive to ring the bell because he fears the election outcome, but is rather worried about a spike in cases.
Even my hesitation about calling elections is not about being scared.
Scared, that's not even the word.
It is about the safety of everyone.
Yeah.
We know, like Christmas, if we call elections, people are going to go out. And we've seen after all the other elections during COVID period, there's another outbreak. And this is one thing that we're extremely mindful of. That's why I'm saying to people, I can't focus on elections until I know I have the COVID thing well in hand. But constitutionally, we are required to call the elections by a certain date, which is October 12th.
June 6 will mark the 5th anniversary of the 2016 general election. According to the Constitution, the poll is due no later than 3 months after the 5 years of the very first sitting of Parliament, which was held on July 12, 2016.
July 12th is when the Parliament is prorogued.
Right.
It's dissolved.
Right.
And you have 90 days
after that.
Now, we have been in that space before. Okay, so we wouldn't be the first government to call an elections past the parliamentary date that it becomes dissolved.
Right.
But that's the maximum we can go to. So hopefully we have the situation in hand before then, or I have the confirmation that we can get the vaccines.
Delayed elections are the exception and not the norm in the annals of St. Lucia's history. In fact, only 2 elections have been held beyond the anniversary date of the parliamentary term, in the general elections of 1979 and 1992. But Chastney does not seem perturbed, making it clear that his focus remains on beating the COVID-19 pandemic, reopening the local economy, and his government's pro-growth agenda built on capital works projects.
Once we have the vaccines and we can reopen our economy, many of the different hotels can open. We know the demand is there. We know that the US is becoming vaccinated. We know the cruise ships have a protocol in place. We know the UK. Just from those 2 markets, we can survive.
Yeah.
And we can restart. And the continuation of the economic programs we have. I mean, I was down at Hunor Airport. Unbelievable. I've never seen so much steel. And the number of people that are there working already on the site. And that's just on the pilot driving. It's a $600 million project.
It's a big project.
Okay, we're very close to hopefully announcing the new cruise ship terminal. DSH is going to be continuing.
Despite the pandemic, none of the democratically elected governments in the Caribbean postponed their elections. That includes Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Kitts and Nevis. In fact, the world's oldest democracy, the United States conducted its presidential elections in November 2020 with a record voter turnout. Last year, UWP media commentators caused a stir with calls for the Prime Minister to postpone the elections because of the setbacks of the pandemic. A prominent talk show host also wrongly stated that the provisions of the Elections Act allowed the authorities to push the poll back given a declaration of war or pestilence like COVID-19. The law only refers to a calamity in a specific district, which has no bearing on holding an overall election. While Shastney lacks the legal authority to postpone the general election, he does have the prerogative to announce the date. The deadline is October 12th, and no Prime Minister or government in the history of the country has gone the entire distance permitted under the Constitution. Winston Springer Jr., HTS News Force.
Internationally, the head of the Indonesian Navy says a missing submarine with 53 sailors on board will run out of oxygen by Saturday. A search and rescue operation is underway where an oil spill has been spotted off the coast of Bali. Al Jazeera's Jessica Washington reports from Jakarta, Indonesia.
By air and by sea, this search grows more urgent as the hours pass. 53 submariners were on board the KRI Nanggala 402 in waters north of Bali on Wednesday morning. They were taking part in what should have been a routine training exercise when contact with their vessel was lost.
The submarine is now silent. There's no sound. We can only use sonar.
The search is reaching a critical point. Even if the submarine is intact, those on board will soon run out of oxygen.
Until the deadline, which is 3 a.m. on Saturday, we will maximize every effort.
Experts are concerned the submarine may have sunk too far and collapsed under extreme pressure.
The deeper a submarine goes, the more water pressure increases on the submarine. Every 10 meters, there is 1 kilogram of pressure added to each centimeter of the body of the submarine.
Indonesia's neighbours, Singapore and Malaysia, are assisting with the search. An Australian Navy vessel is also on site.
Indonesian authorities say the submarine was in good condition despite being built in the late 1970s. It completed a 2-year refitting process in South Korea in 2012 and recently completed scheduled maintenance in Indonesia.
On Thursday, Indonesian military personnel spotted an oil slick in the sea that officials say could indicate a fuel leak. For many of the family and friends of those on board the KRI Nanggala 402, the ordeal is too much to bear.
His wife said, "I want to be with him. I miss him, but I can't because he has to work." I said, "Be patient." But now we have heard this information.
Eddie Pandu Kusuma got married 2 months ago before going on the submarine mission.
Before he left, he was hoping that when he got back, he was hoping they would have a baby.
Instead, her family, like dozens around Indonesia, now faces a painful wait for answers. Jessica Washington, Al Jazeera, Jakarta.
Action in the LV Star Brown Women's League continued on Thursday at the Warner Park, where Escrape Newtown United defeated Nagico Keon Women 2-0, with both goals coming late in the match. Newtown converted a penalty in the 77th minute, and Christiane Mills added a second goal late on. The match was broadcast live on the SKNFA Facebook page. Commentators Al Edwards and Essington Watts.
Shot it into Claxton. Claxton is tackled.
Points to the spot.
Is that a clean tackle or a penalty? The ball. Claxton. And Scrabble. Oh, V's almost got it. Slipped from her hands and got in, but she chose the right direction, blocked it partially, weak hands, and the ball still penetrated. A poor kick, but good result for Newtown. 1-0 on the 77th minute.
Good result indeed.
Johnson, Wilkinson, donated back to McKellar. Wilkinson, McKellar in the box, McKellar cross, and shot and goal is there. Mills just there in time, making it 2 in the 84th minute.
Very good movement by Newtown, and to match it A very good finish indeed. Beautiful touches. And then Mills, the last touch, just a tap in by Mills.
After the match, coach Shandor Wilkinson said she was happy for the win, but not the performance of her team.
The game was very not too intense. It was just, like you say, moderate for me. Basically, we would have been on the training grounds working on finishing mainly. And as you could see, we still need some work on it. Even though we come out victorious today, I'm not really too pleased with the performance, however. So it's time for me to go back to the drawing board, basically, and work on the girls so that we could prepare for our next game going forward.
Coach Wilkinson is fully aware that the rest of the league is coming for the Newtown women, who have dominated women's football in St. Kitts and Nevis for most of its existence.
Everybody preparing for Newtown, and we are not the defending champions, but everybody still basically coming at Newtown. And really and truly, like I tell my girls, get prepared to play the best team. All right? We don't look forward for them to bring any light team. However, we're getting prepared to play the best team. So basically, we're just taking it one game at a time as they go. We gather with 3 points, we remain at the top of the table, and we move forward.
For Keon, coach Tyrone O'Loughlin is happy with the effort of his team despite the loss.
Yeah, well, as I say, the team play good tonight, and we really practiced this week to go into pressure Newtown a lot and don't let them get nothing much to do. And we were doing that as this up to the 70th minute until that penalty come, kind of pull down the girls. But nevertheless, at least I see the game plan I had tonight for at least 70 minutes until that penalty. So I'm satisfied with my team, but at least I should have get at least 1 point or 3 points tonight. But fortunately not.
The coach, who in previous interviews bemoaned the lack of interest from his players, is reporting a marked improvement in recent times, which has been reflected on the field.
I see a big improvement because sometimes they surprise me now. Sometimes I reach them like 5:30 and they're already down there at least 9 to 10 people on the field warming up, ready to go. And you had some little hiccups when the schedule for Kean to me every time we play a game, we have like 2 weeks rest. So the girls they were getting a little frustrated, and so when we come back again, not this game, the previous game, they wasn't showing up because the 3 weeks rest was they was kind of give up. But this week they really showed to train, and we come out hard against the town. So I'm satisfied with the girls and turning out so far.
You have been watching the SKN Newsline newscast. I'm Andre Huey. From all of us here at SKN Newsline and Channel 95. Thank you for watching.